So 2 weeks so far into Ramadan, a little over 2 weeks, but 2 weeks. All right, this is the second week recap. It has been rough this week. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's been rough. My body is basically said, oh, okay, we're actually doing this, so let's adapt. I had headaches, low energy. I felt kind of sick too, and I felt as if I just didn't want to be around other people. I just didn't have the energy to be around other people. I didn't have the energy to have conversations or really anything, and if I did, it was a very, very periodic, very short. But alhamdulillah, it's been a beautiful experience, even aside from that. All right, so just getting into it. I don't want to keep this video too long. I don't want to make it like 20-30 minutes, so I wrote down little bullet points, just gonna tell you my experience so far. One big thing that I have been noticing before I even get into anything is that all my bad traits are literally just presented in front of me. And as you know, before this, I used to think that I was a pretty decent person, considering that I've been doing self-improvement for years, considering that I'm always trying to better myself, always doing things to be a better person, or be the best individual that I can be. But doing Ramadan, praying, meditating, performing dhikr, reading the Quran, doing this dopamine detox alongside of it, spending all my time outside, as much as I can, I should say, spending a lot of time by myself. And it's like everything has just been presented in front of me, all my bad traits. And I'm not here to say what my bad traits are. I'm not gonna expose myself. Like, there's really no need to expose myself, but nonetheless, doing this is as if Allah, the Creator, has just showed me like, hey, you're not as perfect as you thought you were. So it really has shown me that my ego, or all our egos, really do get in the way, and they create this false narrative, this fake story of like, oh, this is who I am, this is how life is, this is how I perceive myself and how others perceive me. But in reality, what is and what our mind is creating is two different things. And I'm very grateful to be able to see that. It sucks, I'm not gonna lie, it hurts to see all these bad traits, because it's like, you can't look away from it. You can't distract yourself. You're seeing it for what it is, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, I can see that. And you just start recalling all these times where you used to do whatever it is. Like, I said I wasn't gonna expose myself, but I guess I'll explain one of them. I guess so. One bad trait that I still have to this day is I have always been vain. I have always, I guess, cared way too much about how I looked, my appearance, and all that stuff. And it was pretty bad, and I'd say it still is. I'm trying my best. You know, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's like I would walk past a mirror, and anytime I would see my own reflection, I would just start peeping myself. And then anytime someone would give me a compliment or something, I'd try to act modest and humble and be like, oh, thank you. Like, but no, like it's really not like that. But really, it was just blowing my head up even more, because I was obviously vain. I was obviously looking into my own reflection, very narcissistic. And anytime that I wasn't looking clean, anytime that I was you know, getting some fat, or maybe getting too skinny, or whatever it is, I would look down upon myself. I would have this suffering that would occur, and with that suffering, I would try to escape that suffering with bad habits, and it's just a nasty, nasty rabbit hole. All right, so that's the first one. Allah has been showing me all my bad habits or all my bad traits as an individual, so it's humbling. It's definitely humbling to see that. The next thing is that I don't know what it is, but I feel emotional. Maybe it's because I'm doing this dry fasting. That's part of Ramadan. Maybe it's something else. Maybe my heart is softening, whatever that means. I'm not emotional to the sense of like, oh, I'm gonna cry just for no reason, or I'm gonna get hurt if you say something. But it's like I've always felt like emotionally blocked. I couldn't ever really cry because when I was a kid, my parents got divorced, and having to leave my pops, and just always like anytime I would see him, he would just leave out of nowhere. That caused trauma. Then going through abuse as a kid, that caused trauma as well. There's been a lot of things that have caused trauma, and it's almost like as if that has closed me off emotionally. It has made me emotionally retarded, for lack of better words. And people would say certain things and I just wouldn't react. Like I just would have no empathy, sympathy, compassion. I would be cold. I just couldn't react. I remember I was with my fiance at the time, my ex-fiance. Her mom had brought all of us together to basically kind of break the news that she had been diagnosed with cancer. Now, alhamdulillah, she doesn't have cancer anymore, but in that moment when she said she had cancer, my fiance, all his sisters, the mother and the father, they were all crying. They were all crying, and granted, I felt very close to them. Like, I had been with them for a long time. I had felt very, very close to them. I almost saw her as like my own mother, which is kind of weird since I'm with her daughter, or I was with her daughter. But when she said that, there was no response. Like, I did not cry. And at one point in my life, like, my mom even had some cancer. And alhamdulillah, she doesn't have cancer anymore. But even when my mom had told me that she was diagnosed with cancer, she broke it to me and my sis, I did not react. I did not react. There have been very few times where I've cried while I was in this emotionally retarded state. But now, I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm not emotionally retarded. I was in the car with my mom. We were heading over to Gainesville to see my sister and my nieces. And as I'm in the car, I'm reading the Quran, and then I put on my headphones because she has music playing, so I'm really not trying to listen to music. Put on my headphones and I throw on this nasheed. And as I throw on this nasheed, it was the most beautiful thing ever, because it was literally just humming. That's all it was. They were just humming, and this humming, when I closed my eyes, it made me feel as if I was being accepted into Jannah, and everyone was there, and it's weird. It's like I was passing through these gates. I can't explain it. It sounds ridiculous if I try to explain it, but it felt so real, and just the potential for that even happening, or like the possibility of that even happening, it brought tears to my eyes. And I had my sunglasses on, so my mom didn't see anything. But that's a perfect example. And another example is I was listening to the story of Umar radiallahu an, and man, like, some of the things he would say, or some of the stories that were narrated from him, it just brought tears to my eyes. And I don't know. And like I said, it's just, I guess I'm emotional, or I guess I'm experiencing emotions again. So, alhamdulillah, it's beautiful. The next thing is that yeah, so I guess it's the last thing, because the other stuff I kind of want to leave for next week, because I'm experiencing it more this week for sure. But I'm realizing that everything is either for the sake of Allah, for the sake of the Creator, for the sake of God, or for your own ego, for the sake of your ego. Where it's like, you could think about it. You could think about, like, let's say you're working out and, you know, you are building muscle, you are getting leaner, you are feeling better. You gotta ask yourself, why are you doing this? Is it for the sake of Allah, or is it for the sake of your own ego? Is it just so you can get off to yourself, essentially? Because, like I said in the beginning, I was very vain. I'm still vain. I still feel like I am. I'm trying my best here not to be. But I remember I would work out and I would obsess over how I looked all the time. I wanted to be this Greek statue, basically. And I've gotten there. I can get there for sure. Alhamdulillah, I can get there. But when I would get there, I was ungrateful. I was arrogant. I was cocky. And I would basically belittle people who weren't on my level, who didn't match me. You know, I would have respect for others that were on my level, but if someone was fat, or someone was skinny, or if someone was kind of muscular but not really, or kind of lean but not really, like, I would almost make fun of them. And, you know, it's sad that I would even do something like that, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But me doing that was for the sake of my ego. And obviously, when you do something for the sake of your ego, you stray. You stray. And what I mean by you stray is you stray from the Creator. And when you stray from the Creator, that's when you start experiencing a lot of suffering. And that's when you're gonna get humbled. All right? And when I used to read the Bible, when I was Christian, there was this verse that says, the fall comes right after the fall is not too far from pride, or something like that, where it's like, if you're prideful, if you have pride, if you're boastful, if you're arrogant, you're cocky, it's not going to be long till you get humbled. And when you get humbled, it's not a fun experience. It's not a fun experience at all. And being transparent with you guys, being real here, when I was in high school, I was with this group of people, this group of friends, and we were all meatheads. We were all trying to become these Greek statues. And they were all taking these pills. All right, now I know the pills to be prohormones. Okay, prohormones is an oral steroid. It's a steroid in a pill form. Very nasty, very, it's just not good for your body. It destroys your liver. It destroys everything else too. But they were taking this pill. I didn't know what it was, and they had told me, hey, this is gonna get you bigger. This is gonna get you stronger. Don't worry about side effects or anything. You'll be good. Me being ignorant, me being a jahil, I had taken this pill for a month, and I had ended up getting gynecomastia. Gynecomastia is basically titties. It's basically titties. I had titties on my titties. I had breast formation on my muscle, which it wasn't too visible, but the pain that I suffered physically and more so mentally and emotionally, that for me was my fall. That for me was me being humble. It was like Allah was saying, hey, I just gave you this gift. I just blessed you with being able to have this body the way that you have it, where you're ripped and you're extremely muscular and you're extremely athletic, all this stuff. I gave you this gift and you were ungrateful. So here, I'm gonna strip this gift away, I'm gonna humble you, and let's see if you become grateful, and let's see if you humble yourself then. And it took years for me to start to humble myself in that regard, but it's like I was clearly only humbling myself because I still had the gyno in my chest. I still had this breast formation, so it was always there. It was always there to remind me like, yo, you know what happens if you step out of line, if you are ungrateful and you become prideful, boastful, arrogant, cocky, and all this stuff. And recently, closing in on a year now, I got the surgery to get it removed, alhamdulillah. And there's been times where I'll look in the mirror and I'll start to feel like very arrogant and like, oh damn, I'm looking good again. But it's like I always have to take that step back, and it's all a test. That in and of itself, that's like me when I look into the mirror, and if I'm choosing to be vain, if I'm choosing to be cocky, if that starts to come up again, like it's only a matter of time before I get humbled, either in the same way or in a completely different way. So it's like, okay, Allah has put me, he gave me a gift, then stripped it away, tested me to see if I would become humble, become grateful. And now that he's given me the gift to remove it, he's removed it, because all good is from Allah. Now that it's removed, it's like, okay, let's see if you're actually humble. Let's see if you're actually grateful. So everything is a test, and that's what I'm realizing through this Ramadan. It's beautiful because, like, look, a blessing or a curse is a test. A reward or a punishment is a test. Everything is all a test, and it's up to us. Honestly, it is up to us to be able to pass it. I'm gonna leave it there. I don't want to continue on too much. I feel like I'm already pushing this video to its limit, but that's week number 2. Beautiful experience. Beautiful experience. I wouldn't have had it any other way, to be honest. And if you guys are watching this, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. If you're in Ramadan, Ramadan Mubarak. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum. And remember that the time is now.